5 reasons why your car is idling rough. Reason number 1. You have a bad coil pack. A coil pack is what goes on top of the spark plug in the engine to provide it with electricity to spark. Oftentimes, after so many miles, these go faulty or bad and need to be replaced, and sometimes it's just one. If your vehicle has a 4-cylinder engine, there would be 4 coil packs, and sometimes just one goes bad and you need to replace it. But this can be cause for a rough idle or a misfire. A good way to check if you have a bad coil is to swap them with one of the other ones. So if you suspect that the second cylinder has a bad coil pack, pull it off and swap it with cylinder 3 or cylinder 1. If the bad idle or misfire changes and goes to cylinder 1 or 3, then you know that it's a bad coil. Reason number 2, your spark plugs are worn out. Typically on newer vehicles, spark plugs will last a very long time, sometimes 100,000 miles. But technically speaking, they are a wear item. They are not a lifetime component. They do need to be replaced. And when they do wear out, oftentimes you'll notice your car runs rough, the engine light might come on, you might have trouble accelerating the vehicle. So while you're in there checking to see if the coil pack is bad, you might as well pull the spark plug as well and check to see if it's worn out. Reason number 3, sometimes an O2 sensor on your exhaust gets fouled up. This can cause a number of issues, from an engine light on your dash to a misfire to a rough idle, the engine dying. These are relatively inexpensive on most vehicles. Sometimes they're $100 or less, and if you're able to get it out of the rusty exhaust, it's pretty easy to do. A good way to diagnose this is to have an OBD2 scanner, hook it up to your OBD2 port in your vehicle, and read the codes. If the codes come back as emissions related or a O2 sensor fault, then you know your problem is your O2 sensor. Reason number 4, you have carbon buildup on your valves. This is more common with direct injection, turbocharged engines. Sometimes you get a bunch of gunk and carbon built up on the backside of the valves on the engine. This can make it difficult for the valves to seat properly and allow compression to build in the combustion chamber. Typically, this will turn the engine light on. It may begin to flash because of a misfire or a pre-detonation. It can also cause a rough idle when the engine is cold. And the best thing you can do is take it to a shop. They have a special machine, and they blast out all that carbon on the backside of the valves by going in through the intake of the engine. And it typically runs about $50 to $80 per cylinder, so on a 4-cylinder engine it might be $200 to $300. Reason number 5, sometimes a rough idle or a bad running engine is caused by a simple sensor on the intake. It's called a mass airflow sensor, and it's usually somewhere located on the intake throttle body area. This sensor is important for the engine because it's actually reading the air coming into the intake, into the engine, and making sure the proper mixture of air, fuel, and spark is being applied to the timing of the engine. So if this sensor gets fouled up in any way or it gets broken, the engine is not going to be able to run properly. So something you can do is remove that sensor, examine it, clean it, put it back in, and see if that fixes the problem.